And welcome to the Talon Outdoors Show. I'm Charlie.
I'm JD.
And I'm Grant.
Hey, we've got no guests in the studio today.
Feels
A
lonely.
whole lot less people. It's kind of weird.
Fred was feeling a little down. Well, he's always down, but he was feeling a little.
You said he was sick, and I was like, well, you said
he's got a little something.
Okay.
But thank God it wasn't a big something because he only accommodated a little something.
A big something would kill him. You said he was sick, and I was like, well, what else is new? I know he's sick.
I'm not talking about mentally.
Mentally, okay.
I was just physically.
Physically not feeling well.
He didn't want to bring it here and us catch it. And it's
don't bring that for me for Christmas. Thank you.
Yeah, not for Christmas. And Paul, actually, when we get to the fourth segment, we're going to bring Paul in. We are trying the new technology. Yeah.
Feels long awaited.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and yeah. You told Paul, okay, we're going to call you back. Just click on the same link. So I call you back on the same number. We gonna see.
It worked the first time. We can hope. He just sent me the picture of it. He was. We just did a test run on it, and he was all kind of excited. Now I see why.
Holy cow! Y'all can see that right here in the video screen. I'll post that.
That's a large mouth right there, sir.
For those of you driving trucks with video screens that are just for your map and stuff, don't look at that. I can't put it on there. We're not that advanced technologically. But if you're watching on the YouTube channel or Rumble, I think we have like 5 followers on Rumble. Woo! That's a waste of time.
We need to have slap fights on there. That's what Rumble's got going for it. You can watch them slap fights.
Oh man, those are pretty cool. That's you see those guys that don't get knocked out and their whole face is swollen up and they're bleeding and there's stuff coming out of their eyes and I've
come home looking like that a time or two, but it weren't from getting slapped. I think it was a closed fist. I've watched a few of them, man. You got to be a man to stand there and put your hands behind your back and let another grown large man hit you open-handed.
The women are doing that.
The women are rough, buddy.
Yeah, and I don't take any perverse pleasure out of watching those women get the mess slapped out at all. None.
And people are a little. They seem to be a little touched.
There's different. You see the different personalities in those people.
That's what I'm talking
about. And
some of them ain't quite right.
and some of the women are they're smiling and they're doing whatever, and some of them are just tough as nails, and some of them are crazy. And I go, I think I dated her in junior college.
Ooh. I'm glad she wasn't that mean back when I dated her. She was.
It was if you're over our way, that would be the riverfront, and if you were up in Dothan, that would be the Cowboys.
Not that I've ever been to either one of them establishments once. Never.
No. I married one that hung out in one, and I married one that hung out in the other one. So, not that I met the one at the riverfront. That's the current one.
Yeah,
she said, had I met you in riverfront, I never would have gone out with you. I didn't date anybody from there. I went, well, good. I'm glad you didn't. You didn't meet me there.
You just said the right words.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
23 years, I'm happy.
I tell you what, Riverfront ain't a bar no more, but it is a fine barbecue joint now.
Yeah.
Summer's Barbecue, Summer Smokehouse. It is, man. That's free advertisement for them. I think personally probably the best barbecue anywhere around here. I really like their brisket is fine.
Well, last week, Dale Bessie.
That's right.
Dr. Fish, our advertising executive from iHeart, brought us some lunch from there, and it was quite good.
I don't know if all their other barbecue's good, but I know their brisket is good. That's what I get every time.
Their brisket is fantastic, and you know what? I think they've got. I'm trying to remember. I know they've got good wings and good. There's good. There's
my wife
plenty
testifies
of
to the pulled pork.
Pulled pork. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, it's but it's for us when we go eat there. It's sort of nostalgic because you walk in, you go.
Yep, got the
especially when
right
you go around
there
to the drink machine and you look down the hall towards where all the stuff happened back in the day.
Like, yep, got in the fight right there.
I got to watch some people get drug out that door by the bouncers, and we didn't see them for a while.
I seen a fella get hit in the head with a beer bottle right over there. You think we're joking?
No, I don't.
We are not.
I believe you 100%.
They still have a sign in there for I think the riverfront on the wall around there by the drink machine.
Oh, yeah, they do. They
don't
do.
know what they do in the back there anymore, but
Warrior on the River, in the auditorium, they do concerts there.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
David Allen Coe has played there like 3 times in the last couple of years. I think they wheel him in. I think they wheel him in I'm not joking. I think they wheel him in a wheelchair with his oxygen bottle attached to his nose.
Can't believe he's alive still. After his hard living,
Yeah, it blows all the doctors don't do that advice out the water. I think those guys get to a certain point where they're just pickled. Pickled eggs and pickled pig's feet and pickled peppers and they last a long time in a jar. There's historic documentation where they can last for hundreds of years. So I think at some point they get pickled.
What's your doctor's name? Peter Piper. He picked a peck.
Picked a peck of pickled peppers?
Yeah. I don't know how many. Probably neck and neck with that woodchuck.
That is the question, is how many pickled peppers of Peter Piper
him and a woodchuck in a race, that'd be kind of one's chucking wood and one's
picking peppers.
Oh. Well, how many acres of carrots was it?
40.
40 acres of carrots. That's better than 40 acres of carrots. I've never heard that expression before.
I might use that again. Just now when we were doing the test run on getting the new technology test run, his client caught a jackfish, which if you want to look that up, folks, it's a chain pickerel, but it's like a miniature muskie or pike. It's kind of in the pike family. Got some bad teeth on them, but they are, if you know how to cook them and prepare them, it's really not how to cook them. If you know how to prepare them, they are excellent. If you don't know how to prepare them and you try to eat them, you're going to get a mouthful of little Y-shaped bones.
You got to slice them a bunch of times.
You have to gash them.
Yeah.
But as far as eating goes, the way you prepare to fry them is you fillet them, you scale them, scrape the scales off, little tiny little scales, scrape the scales off, fillet them down the backbone, lay the skin side down on your cutting board or wherever you're cleaning your fish, lay the skin side down without the scales on it, and then take a really sharp fillet knife. You don't want to cut through the skin, but you want to cut through the meat all the way to the skin from end to end on that fillet. And then vertically, not horizontally. You want to go up from top to bottom.
You want to go
top to bottom, the same way the same way the ribs are running. Okay, you want to go top to bottom. You gash it. Eighth of an inch, the eighth of an inch, quarter inch apart. You go through there and you cut that entire fillet so it looks like an accordion almost when you're done, but leave the skin on there so it'll hold it together. And then meal it, salt and pepper, cornmeal is what I like to do, and drop it in the frying pan, and it fries really fast because all your meat is super thin. But that and a red horse suckerfish that grows around here, suckerfish, pond suckers, red horse suckers, have the same little bones in them. Those two probably my favorite freshwater fish to eat, but you have to do that to them or you can't do it. You'll just have bones.
So when you slice it, when you gash it like that, are you just breaking the bones into little bitty pieces?
Yep, you're cutting the bones up into smaller pieces, so when you drop it in that 350, 375 degree peanut oil, they're gone. Okay. And then you just eat the whole thing. It's phenomenally
like little old bitty brim that you fry up.
Fry hard, exactly right. Eat the whole thing, and that's just, to me, there is no better eating fish in the water than a jack. It's just, they're delicious, but they're a pain in the butt. A little bit extra care to prepare it, but when you do, it's hard to beat. And most people throw them back, but they're fun to catch. But anyway, we were on the phone with him, and his customer caught a jackfish, and Paul's talking. He's got a big one in the boat, right, and a big bass in the boat, and he goes, "That's better than 40 acres of carrots." And he didn't even know we were still on the phone, but we heard him say that, and I'm like, "That's better than 40 acres of carrots." I'm like,
Southern euphemisms I've never heard before.
Hey man, you learn something new on this show all the time. So there's you a new.
There you go.
Yeah, not that we don't. I mean, we get accused of being rednecks, and I'll own that every day.
Yeah, it's funny because I grew up listening to my Papa Strickland. He was from North Carolina, and he had some things
different
he said that was different than from around here. But but then a lot of them I thought were just unique, but they're not. I hear you say them too. We'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. Sorry, the break took a turn downward towards some. Anyway, animals.
What are you gonna do?
Them dogs. Dogs are crazy. I tell you, I was driving over here a little while ago, and I was in a little bit more of a hurry than normal. Well, no, I'm always in a hurry because I'm always late. But I'm driving over here, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I'm guilty of getting in the fast lane, but I also go fast. So, you know, it's not like I'm slowing anybody down. I look in my rearview mirror, and about 2 cars behind me, I see this white pickup truck. It's a Georgia Collegiate tag, Florida Baker uniform IDA. I think it's like 78, maybe. Could be. And anyway, so might have been 38. But so I look back there, and I see this white pickup truck. It's a F-250. The same model we got, so 2017 or newer, one of that body style, and might be anyway, and pulling a U-Haul trailer, and I thought he had a horse trailer, and had a big Georgia tag on the front, and he got right up on people's rear ends until they'd get out of his way, and he'd get right on the next one's rear end, and I said, this ain't gonna go well because I don't like people like this, so I purposefully stayed in his way for a long time, and. If 13, 14 miles an hour over the speed limit ain't good enough for you.
When you pull in a trailer?
When you pull in a trailer.
Yeah.
And he kept getting on my butt, and I just tapped my brakes, and he, you know, swerve and back off, and I could see him getting a little upset, and which was just fine with me. And the thing is there were people in the right lane. It wasn't like I could, and they were going slower than me. I was passing. I was going around tractor trailers and cars and people that were. And so after a little while, I said, you know, I'm going to do the right thing, and we'll get on out of his way, and I'm just going to watch. Because maybe he's just upset with me for some reason. I don't know. Brake lights in your face at that speed, maybe. And I had sped up to try to accommodate him. But it didn't matter. He just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming and getting right up on my tail. And I said, well, he doesn't know how many guns I got and who I am. You know, he doesn't know anything, none of that. I'm just driving this little nondescript, you know, little Kia Sportage hybrid. You know, he thinks I'm just one of them, and I ain't. And so we get closer and closer, and we're in Gadsden now. We're getting close to the exit. We're the next exit down. Yeah. And somehow or another, he got caught between 2 cars and had to slow down and get in the right lane. And so I got around him. I took my time getting around him because he was stuck behind a slow car now in the right lane. I took my time getting past him, and I could see him kind of speed up. He was kind of trying to pace me and get my attention, and I never. I mean, he could have started shooting bullet holes in the door before I'd look over there. And so I eased on up, got on around him, and then he gets a car got right behind me, and wasn't tailgating but was going my speed. And then this guy gets behind, and he's right on their tail, and so now I've got a buffer. So, but somebody who's driving reasonably and not tailgating. So I find the slowest car on the interstate, going 72. It's the only one around. And I pace that car all the way to the midway exit. And I can see him stacking up back there. And just if he had cracked the windows, you'd have seen smoke pouring out the dadgum truck. I'm just like, yeah, well. Now, the people who like to get in the left lane and haul tail, that's fine. You can be mad at me, but I'm proving a point. You can get over there and haul tail, but don't get on somebody's butt. That's dangerous. Mm-hmm. That's dangerous. That will get somebody killed. And I was hoping, beyond all hope, that he was going to pull off at one of those exits between about Mariana, where I picked him up, and Tallahassee, and had to need to get some fuel or something, because I would have been a little later. I might have had to call Fred, because we were going to at least have a polite conversation about his activities. Because, you know, the thing is what if that's my daughter? in that car. Now, granted, I was in the left lane, and you ain't supposed to ride in the left lane unless you're passing people. But I was passing people. I wasn't passing people as fast as he wanted me to pass people, and because there ain't no rules about speed limit's what it is. Technically, if they say, well, if you're a slower vehicle, you got it in the right lane. Well, I'm going over the speed limit. So you're gonna tell me I got to get out of the fast lane when I'm going faster than the speed limit? I'm already breaking the law. I'm gonna just break it a little more.
I get another one. That's like a conversation I had this morning with a fella about shooting wood ducks, and he said, "Yeah, we got a little bit over the limit this morning. We had a good morning on the wood ducks." And I was like, "Yeah, you gotta be careful with that. That gets expensive." He goes, "Well, yeah, we shooting over corn too." And I said, "Might as well." I said, "Well, I hope you wasn't wasting money on steel shot." He goes, "I accidentally left my lead shot at the house." And if you're gonna shoot over the limit and you're gonna shoot over corn, and you might as well be shooting lead. You might as well just go ahead and not shoot.
Well, now, let's be honest. That game officer ain't gonna give you a break for none of that.
No,
he catches you.
You're gonna get all of it anyway.
You're already caught.
You're gonna get all of it. Might as well just.
And he's probably gonna be impressed. He's like, "Well, dang. Okay, 1, 2, 3. You got anything else?" Honestly, this is quite impressive.
So I stopped the guy one time for speed. He was reckless driving out on the Parkway, and he come out of the tire store out there. It used to be just past the circle on the Parkway on the north side.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out there and just smoking tires. And he pulled into the Circle K out there. Well, I wasn't planning on stopping him. I just pulled in behind him because I saw him do it. And I didn't even turn on the blue lights. I just got out behind him at the gas pumps, and I walked up there and I said, "Hey, man, you must like buying tires." "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you just left half those brand new ones.
10,000 miles on the ground back there.
You still got the little tips on the front tires, and the back ones are worn off already just from coming out of the parking lot." I said, "You must just not worry about money. Why you harassing me? Why you got to pick on me just because I'm a different color, blah, 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 the whole race card." And I'm like, whoa, sir. You just went from a polite conversation
to
with some friendly advice to
accusatory.
Hang on, let me push this button. Now the blue lights are on, and I call it in. I said, "I'm out on the 1050 at such and such address, and blah, 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 Florida tag, da-da-da." And then he gets mad. He's already mad. And I'm like, "Well, I need to see your driver's license, proof of insurance, registration, please, sir." And I did the whole professional travel. I went into professional travel. I went from being the friendly fella to, now we're doing the professional thing. And he goes, and he opens his passenger door at the pump, and he starts digging around the glove box. I said, "Well, be careful now. Just slow down. Be cautious. Don't be jumping around and grabbing stuff too fast, sir." I said, that's not safe. And he says, "Well, I got something for you," and he reaches under his passenger seat.
Nope. Buddy.
And he was mad.
Holy
and he said,
God.
"I got something for you." And he reaches under the passenger seat, and apparently in his spin out, his phone had slid off the console and went down in the floorboard, and that's where it was. What he had for me was he called 911 to complain on me. And that's what he meant. But what he meant when he turned around was, at the time, a 45 ACP barrel pointed at him, and me going, "I don't think I'd do that." And so then all of a sudden, I was profiling, I was doing all this stuff wrong, and I'm like, "Man, you just."
Holy
and so then the current supervisor at the time showed up, and they went over there and had their conversation. And he came back and he goes, "Well," and my supervisor at the time said, "Well, Deputy Strickland, what are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm going to issue him a citation, or 3 or 4. And, they can't tell you what you can and can't do on citations. They can't influence your decision. The supervisor can't say, you got to tear that up. That's illegal."
Right.
And he goes, "Well, I can't tell you." I said, "I know you can't. And this may cost me later." And so I started writing. And he didn't have none of his proof of this, and he didn't have his registration. He didn't do this. He would, and he wasn't wearing anyway. So when he got ready to leave, I still had his driver's license stuck under that little clip in my pen on my pocket, and I said something I shouldn't have said because he got ready. He would not touch the citation book. He used one of those papers I used to hand out on the south side, whatever paper that speaks for the minority community. He grabbed the citation book with that, and he wouldn't use my pen. I said, "Sir, you signed." I said, "You have a pen?" He goes, "No." And I said, "Well, here, you can use mine." And he wouldn't touch it. He asked the supervisor, who was also of his persuasion, to borrow his pen. And so this is just stuff cops have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And so he uses the pen, and he signs a citation, all like 4 or 5 of them. I said, "There's another one. There's another one. There's another one."
Flip them over. Yeah. Press hard. You're making 4 copies.
I'd love to see you in traffic court. And this before we had video cameras and stuff. I'd love to have all this on camera. And because the thing is, and he was accusing me of stopping him because he was black. All right, let's be honest. He had tinted windows. I had no idea, and it was a standard. It was a car. It didn't look. I mean, you couldn't. The car looked like any other car on the street, and he had dark tinted windows. I had no idea when I got out, and I was being nice when I got out. I was just going to talk to him and then leave. He talked himself into 4 or 5 citations, and I said, "Please, please, please. Here's your traffic court options. Please go. Here you go." And then I should I say what I said?
No.
When he left? No, probably not. It wasn't. It wasn't racist. It was, something to the tune of, here's your driver's license. You might want to wipe my Caucasianness off of it. And gave it to him as he left. And dude, all I wanted to do was get him to slow down a little bit. That's one of the stories. This is why I'll never be able to run for political office again.
Yeah, don't spin your tires when you take off, man. That's just, especially in front of a marked police car. That's just bad form.
On Highway 20, on the Appalachia Parkway, in the middle of the day with cops everywhere. That's just like a block from DOT. Yeah. It's just not a good idea.
Bad form.
Yeah, and then when somebody gets out and talks to you and they're being friendly, just smile and be friendly. I didn't even expect it. Yes sir, no sir. Yeah. He could have been a jerk and just I won't do it again. Kiss my rear, and that would have been the end of it. That would have been the end of it. But no, he had to.
Yeah, fun stuff.
I got something for you. That is a bad idea.
Yeah, I got something for you too, buddy.
Man, all right, we'll be back. So we just told the story about how I would. How many times can you quantify how many times in your law enforcement career you could have shot somebody and been justified in doing it?
Man, just off the top of my head,
a bunch.
Yeah, I could probably come up with 10 similar stories.
And those are the ones that you remember.
Those are the ones that I remember that were, absolutely, they're burned into my memory. Mm-hmm. There probably more.
You can still see them,
right? There's probably more that I have forgotten about because the hindsight it wasn't as traumatic an experience. I had a guy try to run me over, literally swerve to try to hit me one time.
You were on foot?
I was on foot, and he was coming towards me, and was in full uniform and lights on and everything else, and he swerved over and got within. I mean, I dove out of the way.
Yeah.
I had a kid one time that I'd caught breaking into cars, and we had a foot pursuit, and he ended up running down in a ditch. I was running along the top of the ditch, and he's back in the day, Budweiser Creek that flowed south of camp. Flowed. It starts way up by I-10 on Old Bainbridge Road and I-10, and it flows all the way down and becomes Munson Slough and goes into Lake Munson. But the ditch itself, we just call it Budweiser Creek, but it's technically it's Munson Slough.
It's underground.
It's underground. It's covered up now.
But I've jumped into it.
Back in the day, it was fully exposed all the way through campus.
It's deep.
And it was deep, and it would flood and get full of water, but most of the time it was just a little trickle of water through there. And we ended up I was running down the top of on the bank of Budweiser Creek, and he was down in there, and he ran out of he ran through a deeper part, and it pulled his shoes off, and it's in the wintertime, and it's cold, and he's barefooted. He had on like deck shoes or something, the old
like
flip-on boat shoes.
Yeah, loafers kind of something like
thing.
that.
Yeah. And he stopped running, so I stopped running, and I'm pointing my gun at him, giving him verbal commands and everything because I just caught him. I'd interrupted him breaking into cars. And he's facing me, and I'm telling him to get his hands up, and I wasn't long out of the academy. And they teach you in the police academy, if somebody ever gets the drop on you and pull your gun, that when they say raise your hands, you do it shoulder high, which is called a false surrender. I give up. This is I give up, don't shoot me. This is I give up, I'm getting ready to do something.
Yeah.
So he does this, and we're a pretty good distance apart, and he's doing this, and I'm giving him verbal commands to come up the side of the ditch. We're done here, and he turns his back to me and opens his jacket with his left hand and reaches inside his jacket with his right hand, and I'm sure I probably went up a couple of octaves and said some things to the effect of, I'm fixing to kill you. Yeah. Probably not very nicely and probably quite excitedly. And I think it dawned on he was trying. Ultimately, what he did was, with his back still turned to me, he dropped out a screwdriver and a pair of pliers.
Oh.
He was stealing radios out of cars. And he dropped his tools out in the ditch. But my thought is, he turns his back, he's getting ready to draw and turn around. And I still, to this day, I remember I was the first officer at FSU Police Department to have Trigicon night sights when they first came out. Glow-in-the-dark tritium sights. And I remember the sights on my gun being about that big, about the size of a 50-cent piece. That's how, and I'm aimed right at him going, this is fixing to happen. And anyway, it didn't. And he turned, I think when I elevated my voice and my when my talking became screams, he realized, oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was not smart. And so anyway, it all ended fine. But that's just one example. I probably got another.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of them.
I remember the guy with a red laser pinpointer at first when they first came out down off of Highway 20, and he was pointing it down the hill at me after I told him to turn down his Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
And
there was a guy that me and another deputy went out with that had these two really weird knives. They were these hawkbill knives with like the finger groove. Yeah. You could put your finger through the loops in them. Yeah. And he's got those knives, and he's doing like this come and get me dance. He's crazy. And it was me and another deputy. The other deputy pulled his taser out. I pulled my gun out because that's absolutely deadly force situation. And fortunately for the guy with the knives, who was just crazy as a bedbug, the taser worked on the first application, and he fell to the ground. And because I had already made up my mind that if the taser didn't stop, because we were well within 10-yard gap, yeah. I had pretty much made up my mind that I hope the taser works. So because if not, I'm fixing to put a hole in him. So
people, the general public, they see the videos nowadays of law enforcement officers getting involved in shootings, proper, improper, whatever the case may be. What they don't know, what they don't hear about, and what they never see because it doesn't make
is all the times that you don't
is the massive number of times, and the percentage is 10, 20 to 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you could use deadly force versus when you do, and listen, it's and every time that you or I or anybody in the law enforcement community or any civilian gives the bad guy the benefit of the doubt, I am legally authorized in using deadly force, but I'm not going to until they cross this little threshold that I've sort of mentally set at that point in time. We are risking our lives
absolutely
to save them.
Absolutely.
So the thing is we
from their own stupidity.
From their yes. And the thing is the public doesn't give law enforcement credit for the tens of hundreds of thousands of times every year that we could and don't use deadly force. I mean, they focus on the handful of times. You know what? Every now and then a cop shoots somebody they ought not to shoot.
Sure.
And out of that, a small percentage of the times they did so maliciously, but it's very small. Most of the time, it's just
incredibly. That would be incredibly small.
Yes, it's poor judgment or lack of understanding of the situation. But the thing is, it's based on totality of circumstances, just like in the civilian shooting. It's based on what you, at the time standing there in your shoes, understand to be the case. Not hindsight,
which is why the law is written the way it is, and that you have to put yourself, the jury, if you will, is supposed to put themselves in the shoes of the person and try to anyway, and grade them or judge them based on what they were feeling at the time. That's why the feeling at the time or believed at the time language is in the statute.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of people just don't see it, don't get it. And you know, the thing is, you can never put them in. You know, we just send those people to, I always like it when they send a preacher from the Southside Church through the force-on-force training, and they shoot everybody.
Yeah.
And they go, and then they come out of it going, I don't know.
Well, it's not just the Southside Church. It's
all of them. It's anybody in the community. I'm just saying that guy that's most vocal against police ends up putting in the circumstances, and then goes, well,
reporters are infamous. Media people are infamous for that. You know,
and that's what happens. I mean, you know, they understand, and I'm not saying it's everybody, but occasionally I always get a little bit of satisfaction out of seeing somebody who has been vocally against, our profession, and then go into a situation like that and come out with their eyes open.
Yeah,
because it happens.
I saw a news pop this morning, something little story on the news. Austin, Texas, city councilman out in Austin, Texas, that had got elected on the platform of defunding the police.
Yeah.
And Austin, if y'all don't know, in Texas is very, very, very liberal. A lot like Tallahassee is a liberal city in a conservative state. Austin is kind of the same way in Texas as Tallahassee is in Florida. But one councilman that ran on defunding the police is now asking for extra protection for him personally from the police for something that's going on.
I would tell him just how busy. We're a little short-staffed. Sorry there, boss.
Yeah, we're a little short-handed.
Can't help you.
You might want to hire somebody.
I got to go to a Christmas party yesterday at Jackson County Sheriff's Office and eat some smoked steak and some low country bowl and some shrimp and a little.
Done it up right.
We did. I got to hang out with the former sheriff, Sheriff Roberts, and the current sheriff, and all the county commissioners, school board members, and.
Well, I had the great pleasure.
Good old time.
I had the great pleasure last night of loading up bunch of middle school girls in the Talon van and going and getting hot chocolate and Christmas lights thing and. I'm starting to think that our children are going to benefit more from that van investment than we are. I heard some bad singing last night. I'm just saying. Glad they don't listen to the show.
We'll be back in a minute. And yeah, we're back. So if you anyway, so on the
what a transition.
I got totally out of whack here. We're
you done messed up, AA Ron.
AA Ron, yeah. All right, so we had if you're in the Dothan area, listening area, and you hadn't come out, the big issue we got nowadays at the gun range in Dothan is Tallahassee. We stay up until 9 o'clock at night, and the lights come on, and people come out here and shoot till 9 o'clock. In Dothan, we've been closing at 6. That if you hadn't noticed lately, it's getting dark at like 4:45, and so it gets real dark real fast. So we installed lights, and if you listen to our Dothan commercial, it actually talks about it. So there are lights on 4 of the bays and about to be on the 400-yard range. I'm getting a bar light I'm put down there like we have here in Tallahassee.
They can practice their night hunting.
So they can do that anyway. And the biggest question when I put it on social media was, can I come out there and run nods, night vision? Can I run thermal? Can I do this? Yeah, absolutely. Can I turn the lights off and shoot? Yeah, absolutely. We're open to 6 right now, and we're going to be open till 6. And, people don't go to bed. Most people don't go to bed any earlier just because it gets dark earlier. The fact is people get off work at 5 o'clock and they want to go to gun range and shoot. There ought to still be some light left, and so we made sure we've got these big LEDs. You turn them on, and man, they're bright. And so we got 4 handgun bays and fixing to be the 1 rifle range. It's going to be well lit, and so come on and shoot. Just don't let it slow you down. I tell you what we've been doing in Dothan a lot of is selling cans, silencers, suppressors. We've been moving them. Seems like every time I go in there, they're in there doing the e-file.
Got the kiosk
for somebody
going.
else. The kiosk is running. You can come in, get your fingerprints, use the app on the thing there to get your photographs submitted, and then
I didn't tell you my can story.
Your can story?
I got two tax stamps back this week.
You did?
A day apart.
Did you finally pitch enough fit?
I finally pitched enough of a fit about my Form 1 that had taken them 7 months and 20 days. It's supposed to take 20 days. And raised enough sand with the ATF about where's my Form 1. And lo and behold, 2 days after I got my Form 1, my suppressor that had been waiting for since January of this year, so 11 months, which is also way longer than it's supposed. I think they must have my background check or my folder, my file, whatever, had got slid up under somebody's sale papers or something. I don't know, and it just got lost in the mix or something. But yeah, I got them back. Well,
good, because I've been listening to you complain for 7 months and 20 days. First 20 days, hey, oh my God, paperwork's coming.
Well, I got
They're a little late, and then Matt in here made a phone call and got his.
No, he sent emails, and I sent emails to the same.
Okay.
To all of the examiners.
Okay.
All of them. Every examiner, the ATF. I got a list of all of their examiners and emailed a batch email. Oh, I'm guarantee if I was not on the list before, I'm on one now.
That's a way to get on the list right there. They're like, you ain't gonna believe this guy sent me an email. Yeah, I got the same one. So did I.
Well, and I had
put him on the list.
I did one better because one of the examiners that wasn't my examiner go, your background check. We're waiting on the FBI to respond on your background check. So I picked up the phone, called my buddy at the FBI. I said, "Hey man, you ain't gonna believe what these jokers told me." He goes, "Oh, I'm fixing to fix that." So I got the FBI mad at the ATF and vice versa.
That's the kind of infighting you love.
Oh, yeah. He's like, yeah.
Like alphabet soup. They're all going at each other, just stirring it up. Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you did that. I've got a couple I need to file for, but I've been waiting to let you get your stuff straightened out. I don't want to go in. They got this guy. He's got he's got a business partner.
What's that guy?
They're on the same FF. No, we're going to mess him over, too. I'm going to go in there like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I get it on the SBR, but the fact that we have to go through all this stuff for a suppressor.
The fact that you are applying for a tax stamp and willing to pay money
that I don't have to do
federal background check, and it ought to indicate that you're not a bad dude.
Yeah.
It ought to be a simple background. Anyway, we'll be back in just a second. And we're back. We are trying some new technology.
Well, the funny part about that new technology was that Paul called me yesterday and said, "Hey, can we do this yada 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 to this new tech?" I'm like, hold on a minute now. I said, "Paul, I am about the same technologically inclined, highly advanced level as you are. So don't talk to me nothing about how to do nothing on this thing. I can talk on the phone. I can send an email. There you go."
That's about me, right?
I got a question for you, Paul.
Yes,
how good exactly is 40 acres of carrots?
Let me tell you, it's catching it's having your customer catch a 10 pounder. That's how good it is. You would have seen that fight, AJD. It was awesome.
That is as healthy and big of a just gorgeous bass as I have ever seen. I think that thing is just massive.
Golly. And we've been waiting on you to call back. We pulled up to one spot and just caught another one. Not one that big, but we're waiting, doing the show. Then we're going to run down the lake and go to another spot.
So what'd you catch the jack on? I went through a whole explanation in the first segment on here about how to prepare a jackfish or a chain pickerel to eat. So
yeah, that jack was on, and we caught several of them today. You know how those get bite this time of year, but caught on the crankbait.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They are voracious eaters and highly aggressive fish at certain times. But
that's right.
And they are fine to eat too.
That's right. Yesterday I was with some folks, and we actually lost about $75 worth of loop jack. They cut our lines off.
Oh yeah, they got some bad fangs on them. They'll mess you up on light line for sure.
Heck yeah.
Well, y'all just bass fishing today, or are you doing some
Yes.
crappie fishing too?
Just bass fishing today. I'm gonna get out tomorrow and look for some crappie tomorrow. That bite's been pretty good too. I had a trip 2 days ago, and the man said, "Man, you're gonna get me in trouble." He kept saying, "You're gonna get me in." I said, "Get you in trouble? What for?" He goes, "I got to take Christmas bags. I got to get one of these things." How about the live scope?
The live scope, yeah, that's
actually we're eating those fish this evening.
cool.
We're going to fish this evening.
Did you keep the jackfish you caught today?
No, we didn't. I thought Mr. Jack Wingate, he would get so mad when you told him you caught a jack and didn't bring it into him. But I don't know much how to clean them. There's a certain way you do it.
Yep.
And I don't know how to do it, so I don't fool with it.
If it's easy, go back and listen to the first segment of the show, and and I explain it in detail because that's probably one of my favorite. Mr. Jack and my granddaddy were really close friends, and I got some of that same. I got some of that hand me down knowledge from them old guys, and I explain how to do it. So yeah, there's fine eating. So you seeing a bunch of ducks up there too?
Yeah, but, not seeing as many ducks today, but I'm out here in front of JD, and I bet there's 100,000 coots here.
You said
just great.
You broke up there. You're in front of Sealy's, you said?
Yeah, they're out in front of Sealy's, and I bet there's 100,000 coots.
Oh yeah. Well, when the coots are there, the ducks are usually there too. So.
And I've been yesterday on the coot side. I saw a bunch of I think they were canvasback.
Yep.
That they come straight up out of the where the coots were, and
yep.
I thought there was a grass island floating on the water, and looked over there, and the guy sat up with his gun. I'm like, my gosh, look, I ain't never seen no boat like that. He had a big one. If you run by him with a wave, I bet he'd flood a person like that. He was out there in the middle of the flats, out in front of the house, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep, those are layout boats.
That's what he was doing.
Yep, that's called a layout boat, and that's how you have to hunt those divers that get rafted up out in the deep water. That's the only way to hunt them.
Yep, that's what he was doing.
And it's probably canvasbacks. It's canvasbacks, redheads, ringnecks, and bluebills. They're different. They're the divers, and they prefer to feed in deep water. So I've seen a lot of them up there on the lake, and the puddle ducks like the mallards and teal and widgeon and gadwall. Those tend to get up in the shallow water.
Right.
But out in the middle of the corn, where the cornfield is up near Paramore's, way up the Chattahoochee there. That's a good place to find the divers out in the middle of that big open water up there.
Right, because all that's probably deep. You know what I mean? Not that deep.
Yeah, he broke up there a little bit. I don't know.
You still there?
Yeah, we're still there. I think we just got a glitch in it, but well, I'm glad y'all are having a good day on the water, and we're gonna let you go back to it. Paul, thank you for being part of the show, and y'all have a Merry Christmas. We won't talk to you before Christmas. Y'all have a Merry Christmas, and tell folks how to get a hold of you.
Man, give me a 850-264-734, and let's go fishing.
264-7534. All right, buddy.
Yes,
y'all
sir.
have a good rest of your day and catch them up.
All right, y'all have a great
See you, man. Bye.
We got some. Obviously, he may be out there where there's a.
Yeah, he's probably
low
doesn't have a powerful.
Well, that's what we ran into when we tried to do this before. Was the exact same thing. Was running into it. At least we got the technology figured out. It's just a matter of having a strong enough signal out there on the lake, because they're not exactly building cell towers on the lake.
Yeah,
they figure that's not a high demand
area. They know where
area.
to put it.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
And most people don't realize how big Lake Seminole is. It's 33,000. I think 33,000 acres in total.
That's a long time to drive all the way around it. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It's you get it. Well, I got to go up there. I was looked at a client. We had a client on the north in the section.
The
Georgia
near
section
Seminole
there,
State Park.
And went up there and went up there to look at the client property initially. And I said, well, I'll just go up River Road in Jackson County, go around and come back down. That's a long drive. And then I had to come over here. So now I got to go to
all the way back up to 84 and over to Bainbridge and back down. Getting to Lake Seminole State Park by road is a journey, because you got to go from Tallahassee. You go all the way to Bainbridge and then over towards Donaldsonville and then turn south and drive all the way back to almost to Chattahoochee in the middle, in between the two rivers. So it's up Fish Pond Drain. It's one of the tributaries. You got basically Seminole is Flint River, Spring Creek, Fish Pond Drain, and the Chattahoochee River make up Lake Seminole. And then you've got a bunch of other small tributaries in there. And that where you're at's out in the middle, in between the two big rivers.
Oh, we're not over there anymore. We did that for a little while. I tell you what, I got to go ride around some up in just across the state line up on 59. The other day I got to go up and look at a new client for the plantation patrol, and got out on about 800 and something acre, 806 acre, I think, plantation. Drove around with the manager, and it had grown up, and he was going over all the equipment he'd been using to get it back. What I'm doing on my place is what he's doing up there. He'd gone out there and chipped everything to the ground, left all the pines, and now it's going back and mowing and spot spraying and burning and doing all the stuff to get. Now, he's surrounded by other plantations who are also our clients, but, it's easy to get quail back into a place when
there's already quail around.
Quail habitat all the way around them on 3 or 4 sides. And we spooked a couple of coveys up there on the property, riding around on the side by side. But it's so beautiful when you get out there on those places and just get to ride, and you see that cycle of prescription burns.
Which is what it should look like here.
Mm-hmm.
If man didn't get involved in it, if man hadn't gotten involved in it hundreds of years ago and cut all those pine forests for timber back in the day, Florida, this part of Florida, South Georgia and North Florida, were grasslands.
Yeah,
basically big prairie grasslands with sparse pine trees. Because
fire does that.
Because that's what fire does. And Florida, if you don't prescription burn in Florida, nature will take care of it for you. It's going to be ugly, but
lightning's going to strike.
But lightning's going to strike,
and you're going to have those big open areas that it burned everything to the ground, and then the grass, the indigenous
cycle starts over again.
Blue stem and this and that, and all the little things that come back in there, and the things that quail live on, which is why. And you go down into Liberty County and go and look through the woods, and where they've got all the pine trees. And, you go in, there's palmettos and all that in there, and that's what fire does, and that's what that should look like. Mm-hmm. And you go into South Georgia and, a little north of there, and it's got a different look, but, it's what it is. And so, and that's what I'm trying to do with the 130 acres that I've got that's not in cropland, is to let it go back to that and to maintain that as best I can. It's just we've got more wild birds. It was funny the other day, I put out some release birds, and Lily she pointed up some birds, and one flew over to the neighbor's property, and I went over there, and that's still just intertwined from Michael. And one bird went in, 3 birds flew. That one bird had lit in the time that just by sheer coincidence flew next to a pair of wild birds.
Well, I'll tell you, the last time we took pen raised birds to my lease up in Georgia to shoot pen raised birds, and I'd put like 4 or 5 birds out in one spot to come back and hunt them. And when we got to that spot, 30 birds got up, because as soon as those pen raised birds got on the ground and started talking and covying up, they most assuredly called that wild covey into where they were, and the dogs pointed, and it was quite a surprise, because you expected 3 or 4 birds to get up, and it was 30. So Anyway.
I went out last night and put out salt licks and refilled corn and stuff in the dark. You see people turn around the highway going, "What's going on out there with those lights?"
Yeah. I wanted to say Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yep, sure do.
All right.